We are not one with reality. Our perception of reality is entirely dependent on our senses, and if those senses fail, we become cut off from reality. Our perception of reality is only as accurate as our senses allow. If we look at the world around us with our eyes, we do not see reality itself, but a mental picture of reality painted in our mind's eye. If our eyes fail us, or if we interpret what our eyes see in a way that is inaccurate, the picture we see in our mind will not be an accurate representation of reality. For example, if you believe you see a cat sitting on a stoop and you say to your companion, "Take a look at that cat over there," you do so because you genuinely believe that there is a cat sitting on the stoop. If your companion tells you that isn't a cat, it's a pair of old boots, you may experience confusion. You will look again and see the pair of boots clearly upon closer inspection, yet you also clearly saw a cat in your mind just seconds earlier. Did reality change, or did your perception change? Obviously, reality does not change to suit our perception. Reality is what it is, and it is consistent. Science is based in this principle, that the world around us is consistent. That if you give it an input, it will give you an output, and if you understand the process by which outputs are produced, you can predict them with complete accuracy. Scientific facts describe reality based on our understanding of the processes that produce predictable outcomes. Those facts are expressed in our scientific laws, such as the laws of physics, mathematics, and chemistry. We believe these laws and use them to help us shape our perceptions, but can anyone truly see reality? I believe the answer is no. We perceive reality through the filter of our fallible senses, through our eyes which may fail, through our ears which may fail, through our sense of touch which may fail. Proof of this is that if you take away the senses, people become disoriented and confused, and their ability to produce desirable outcomes is greatly diminished. If you blindfolded someone and asked them to walk across an unfamiliar room, they will likely reach out their hands to feel for obstacles and step gingerly with their feet to avoid tripping. Their perception of reality has been hindered by loss of sight, and as a result, their actions become awkward and may lead them to stumble and become disoriented. They may even fail to reach the other side of the room and walk back to where they started. This is proof that we act on the basis of our perception of reality, but not directly due to the understanding of reality itself. This is why we make mistakes. We trust flawed perceptions enough to act on them. To word it another way, when we believe that something false is true, it causes us to act in ways that produce unexpected and often undesirable outcomes. Imagine what it would be like to lose all senses. You would be left with no perception of reality. To illustrate this idea more clearly, imagine that you could not feel hot or cold, and you had no sense of gravity. Imagine you couldn't even feel discomfort or fatigue. Not only would you be deprived of sight and sound, but the very awareness of your own body, which is indeed part of the physical world and only perceivable to your mind through your senses. Interestingly, your mind, your consciousness, is part of your body, but in a way it is separate from it. If you were just a mind with no body through which to perceive the world around you, would you be able to act at all? Even if you did, you would not be aware of it. If you could not begin to form a mental image of what is real, would you be able to reason? Would you be able to think without stimulus? Is consciousness enough to be its own stimulus? That I am unsure of, but one thing I am growing increasingly convinced of is that our conscious mind operates entirely on beliefs, and our bodies are the bridge through which we perceive the world around us. Our actions originate from our beliefs and are carried out through our bodies in order to change reality and produce outcomes from which we can test what is true and false about our perception of reality and help us connect with the true reality itself. Without a reality to use as the basis for our understanding, we cannot begin to test what is true and false. In the case of a mind without a body, rationalization could not take place, because there would be nothing real to test against. Everything would be imagined, and even an imagined set of rules that are in themselves consistent would be of no realistic value, because they would not describe something real. So what does all this mean? It means that our actions aren't based in reality. Our actions are based in belief, which explains why people make so many mistakes. If you find that you are making mistakes and experiencing outcomes that don't make sense to you, it's likely because your perception of reality isn't aligned with reality itself. Don't blame others for your mistakes. Don't blame the circumstances or the timing. Don't blame reality itself. Reality doesn't change. If you truly understood reality, you would know what outcomes to expect after taking action. It's of vital importance that what you believe is in fact representative of reality, because the more detached from reality you become, the less rational you become, the less realistic you become, and the more your actions will resemble those of a blind, deaf, and generally senseless man trying to find his way out of a labyrinth.